Hello, America. Welcome to another episode of 5 Points Perspectives, the Cocky Bastards Chronicles. I'm your host, Trey, and this is my co-host, Zach. And today we're going to recap the Texas A&M game. So first of all, we're just going to talk about where we stand on the bet. You know, we're 2-3. Even though we have more losses than wins, I'm actually feeling better this week than I did last week. Which is sort of ironic, because we have one more loss in the books than we did last week. But we can talk about it a little later. But after this A&M game, I'm feeling a little more confident in a way. I don't know if Gamecock Nation's feeling that way, but I am, Zach. We'll talk about that later. But before we get into all that, let's talk about some of the other big games of the weekend.
Yeah, the first game we're going to touch on is North Carolina versus Florida State. Trey, North Carolina goes down to Tallahassee, gets a big win. North Carolina kicked a 54-yard field goal to win the game as time expired.
Crazy.
And their quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, he played really well, threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it was a big win for Larry Fedora and the North Carolina Tar Heels. They're sitting pretty in the Coastal Division right now, first place. They have a big one coming up against Virginia Tech this weekend. The more you win, the bigger the games get. So
that's right. Then another obviously big game. You had UGA and Tennessee. This is one that came down to the wire. Tennessee goes down to Athens and somehow pulls out a miracle on a Hail Mary. Didn't deserve to win at all.
Georgia scored with 10 seconds left. Trey, the Georgia crowd in Sanford Stadium was feeling pretty good. Jacob Eason hit Riley Ridley, former South Carolina commitment, for a 51-yard touchdown. Georgia thought they had it in the bag. Then, due to an unsportsmanlike conduct and an offsides on the kickoff, it gave Tennessee really good field position, and it was a short enough throw for Dobbs to throw the Hail Mary in the end zone, and Juwan Jennings made the big catch, and Tennessee is still undefeated.
Yeah, and they got lucky because, Georgia sort of dominated time possession, really looked like the better team. But once again, Tennessee had a little luck. I'm still waiting on their luck to run out, Zach, but it just didn't happen this week. So we'll see how they fare against A&M and Alabama in the coming weeks.
We're getting lucky, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
And then the last big game of the weekend was Clemson and Louisville. This one, yet another game came right down to the wire. Louisville came out, didn't really play a good first half. Went in the locker room 28-10, but they came out. Lamar Jackson did what he needed to do to put his team in position to win. But late in the game, Clemson put together a couple drives, put themselves ahead, and then managed to stop Louisville on their last drive.
On that 4th and 12 trade at the very end of the game, Lamar Jackson threw the pass to James Quick. And Quick ran out of bounds, pretty much thinking he had the first down.
Mm-hmm. And I see it in his body language. Yeah, he stepped out and thought he had it. He was ready to go to the next play,
Yeah, had he known he was 1.5 yards, 2 yards short, I think he would have cut that thing back inside or at least lowered his shoulder to try and drive through and get the extra 2 yards that he needed. If you go back and look, the distance marker was several yards back from where it was supposed to be traced, so Quick couldn't see exactly where he needed to go. And that's the fault of the chain gang. That's the fault of Clemson for hiring a homer.
Yeah, they did. You saw him cheering as soon. He's hiding the pylon, and then as soon as the guy doesn't get first down, he's out here cheering. Where's the sense of neutrality?
No, what is this, man? They work for the ACC, and they're not supposed to be cheering for teams. They're supposed to be neutral.
This all falls directly on Dabo, by the way. He's a worm. He's been up these worm tactics for a while. I guess a worm thrives best in the dirt, and that's pretty much what Death Valley is. It's a big old hole in the ground.
It was a questionable situation that could have been handled a lot better, and Petrino also said that in his post-game press conference. And then in the first half of that game, Boulware pretty much put Lamar Jackson in a sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Not sure what that was about, but he doesn't get penalized for it and probably won't get suspended. There were some questionable calls or non-calls and other things that happened in the game that it only happens in Clemson, so...
Even though UNC beat Florida State lost to Ole Miss, they're still a good team, and I know that crap's not going to happen over in Tallahassee. So I think Clemson days are still numbered. That they're not going to be able to pull that crap, even if they make it to the college football playoff again or the ACC championship. They're not going to be able to do that forever. So I think it'll really show in time.
And I'm calling the upset this weekend on Friday. They're traveling to Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, to play Boston College. Trey, Steve Adazio leading the charge. Brendan Nosovich, former South Carolina quarterback, going to catch the game-winning touchdown. And Clemson going to get their first loss. They never play well in Chestnut Hill. It's a tricky place to play. It's not a big stadium, but they have a really good defense. I think they'll be able to slow down that Clemson offense enough. Whether they can score enough, I don't know. But have to get some defensive touchdowns or some special team scores. But I like that matchup with Boston College up there.
I agree. I think, we can count on Deshaun to throw a couple of picks.
Oh, yeah. And, that's a guarantee.
And I think they're sort of inflated after this win over Louisville. They're thinking, we're top. We're going to college football playoff. They're sort of overlooking the rest of their schedule, and I think that's deadly. I'm still calling NC State lost. They're going to lose to Boston College. They're going to lose to Florida State. By the time you get to us, there's not going to be much left of them, and we're going to roll to Death Valley and beat them by 2 scores. You can write that down right now.
On to the most important matchup.
Another close game. Deceptively close. The experts definitely didn't think it was going to be this close. Some of our experts didn't think it was going to be this close. But it was one possession game in the fourth quarter. And Zach, you want to talk a little bit about the Texas A&M South Carolina matchup?
Yeah, Trey, you said it. I thought this was going to be a blowout. Just looking at it from the matchup perspective, I thought that offense of Texas A&M was playing really well. I thought they would be able to exploit our thin secondary and make some plays in space. We limited them to 3 explosive plays, 20 yards or more, which is huge. Last year they had over 7. The defense kept us in the game throughout. It was a touchdown game going to the fourth quarter. But you go back and look, Trey, there were some missed field goals by Elliott Fry, which was uncharacteristic of him. The muff punt by Jamarcus King and some dropped interceptions. Chris Lamont dropped one. He caught one, but he dropped one. Jonathan Walton dropped one that could have went for a pick 6. There was a holding penalty called late in the first half on Malik Young and Zach Bailey. Questionable call. Even the announcers on TV said that. And the guy's a Georgia homer, so he went to Georgia. That tells you something when he says it's a bad call.
All right.
And McElwain got us down to the A&M 6, but that brought us all the way back to the 46-yard line, and we ended up having to punt the ball. So, yeah, it's just things like that. We keep getting in our own way, but I saw improvement. I was really impressed by Rico Dowdle. Came in. A star was born. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We saw what he's capable of. He had 9 carries for 50 yards.
Yeah, he looked good.
And I'm ready to see his workload increase as the season progresses now that he's healthy.
You know, he went out there, he ran angry, broke a few tackles, ran hard. You know, he didn't go down very easy.
He acted like he'd been there before, and this was his first carry against the top 10 opponent. Really good defense, really good defensive front. He didn't seem fazed by the moment at all. He seems like a guy who gets better as the game progresses. As the defense wears down, he only gets stronger. So I'm really excited to see what he does against Georgia Saturday night, and I think he's going to be a big difference and a key to getting this offense going and getting it on the right track.
As you touched on, our defense was really a highlight. You know, this is a Texas A&M team coming in averaging 40-something points a game. Really managed to limit them, get them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
I was really impressed with how they played, how they tackled in space. Chris Lamont had a huge interception, and Darius English had a forced fumble, which led to a fumble recovery for about 20 yards by Chris Moody. Defensive line did a really good job getting off blocks. He held Travion Williams, the freshman running back for Texas A&M, to 98 yards. 49 of his yards came off that one touchdown, their first drive in the second half. But besides that, we held him in check pretty well. Trevor Knight, he had a pretty good game. Definitely didn't do what he did the week before against Arkansas. All in all, I was very impressed with the defense. He definitely gave us every opportunity to win the game.
Yeah, and he came up big in the fourth quarter too, Zach. It was a one-score game, 8-point difference, 13-21 in the fourth quarter. They made the stop, and you know, if it weren't for the missed opportunity on special teams, I'm not gonna say Jamarcus King lost us this game or anything like that. It's his second time return to punt ever on that level. You know, overall, I was really impressed with the way the defense played and kept us in it against what has been a high-powered offense.
Just to give credit to a couple more guys that played really well, I thought Bryson L. Williams had his best game as a Gamecock. He caused a lot of disruption in the passing game. Was the different stunts we were using up front with the front 7. He was able to get in Trevor Knight's face, and he made some big tackles. Jonathan Walton had a big game. Kerry Thomas had another good game. A lot of guys are really stepping up. This coaching staff is really getting all they can out of this unit, which is limited depth and talent-wise. They're playing really well, and I think from here on out, they're going to give us a chance to win every game or be in every game.
I think a lot of people probably looked at this game and said our offense was really hampering us. They didn't really give us a chance to stay in this game. But, if you go back and look at the stat sheet, we really hung in there sort of A&M. But probably one of our biggest problems was converting third down. A lot of times when they got us in a third down situation, we couldn't convert. And a lot of that has to do with the inexperience of McElwain. We didn't really trust him to go through the air, and he didn't really do much with his legs either. You know, he only had 34 yards passing, and even our punter had more yards than him, Zach. So that was kind of bad. One bright spot on our offense. This is still kind of controversial at this point. Some people are very much let's let Brandon McElwain get all the experience he can. This season's a lost cause. I'm on the other side of that camp though, Zach. I sort of think we still need to give Perry Worth a chance. This season is salvageable, especially with the defense playing the way they're playing. Especially since a lot of our tougher games are at home, and I think we definitely have performed a lot better at home. I'm not saying Perry Worth is going to be the antidote. Because we've seen him come in games before and be very inconsistent. But what I do think we need to do is not only stick with McElwain, and I don't really think we're going to this week, but we need to stick with what's working. Put Perry Worth in. If he looks good, keep him in. If he's sputtering a little bit, put McElwain in. It seems like our offense really responds when there's a switch in that department. I guess once it gets stagnant, the other guy just sort of maybe
forgot the spark.
If Perry's getting pressured, maybe Brandon can make something happen with his legs, and vice versa. If Brandon's not able to make certain throws, maybe we get Perry in and get the passing offense going a little bit.
I think Brandon McElwain is so concerned about turning the ball over, and he's so scared about making mistakes and about throwing in tight coverage that it's hurting his play. He's going to have to take more chances. It's holding the whole offense back because we're so predictable when he's in the game. And that's not all his fault. Like I said, he doesn't have a lot of playmakers around him right now, and also he's a true freshman, so he's still learning. You saw what happened when Perry Worth came in the game. He drove down the field and got a field goal, and he threw for over 140 yards. Would have thrown for more if it weren't for the 4 drop passes. So I think the plan against Georgia needs to be start Perry Worth and then implement and sprinkle in Brandon McElwain a couple series, 2 or 3 series throughout the game. So.
Yeah, Zach, and to speak to your point about Mac playing loose, I really think during his quarter at Vanderbilt he played very loose, and that's the best he's looked all season in my opinion. Well, after turning the ball over once and then almost turning it over again, he's been a lot more cautious, and I mean that's good because you don't want turnovers, but at the same time, like you said, in order to make good things happen, sometimes you have to take a chance, and that's what we're going to need. But yeah, I think Perry played very well this week, and I look forward to seeing him back in the game again. I don't think the season's a lost cause. I think we should definitely put in the guy who's going to win us games now. Mac needs experience; he'll get better down the road, but there's no reason we can't win a few games this season.
That's going to do it for the Texas A&M recap. Join us in a few days where we preview the Georgia game.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Remember to follow us on Twitter at DCB Chronicles. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page. Share this video, show all your friends. Share the gift of brilliant Gamecock football analysis with them. Don't keep it to yourself. So that's all, America. We'll talk to you soon.